Monitor, yes, that's that. That's here, not Cottage Grove. The control room can hear me. If you can arrange a split screen in here, getting video signal from Cottage Grove, that's great. They're working on it. Okay, did you try and access the video feed from the URLs that are on Moodle yet? No. Okay. Yes. So part of what they're going to be giving me, in addition to the DVDs that are available in the library for playback within the library, if you have Comcast and you want to, record the broadcast from your DVD at home, you can do that. There are also QuickTime files, which are broken up into 4 sections of 30 minutes each that cover the entire period of the class too, that are going to be on Moodle, and they usually wind up sending me those like around 6 o'clock the day of the show, so I don't wind up loading those till the next day, but so you can access the video feed. Yes, Jace?
Is there subtitles on that?
There are not. They're not that slick yet. Good idea, though. I should actually take that up with them.
Yeah, because I won't be able to watch.
Right. Yeah, because we usually have closed caption on our other stuff, but I'll have to take that up with them. That's right. They should do that. Yes.
Does that mean we don't have to come to class?
Does that mean you don't have to come to class? Yeah, sure. Let me be straight up about that. Look, the college got your money already. Okay? The evidence about whether you pass or fail is whether you did the assignments and I got them by X amount of time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So, I mean, the idea of there's like 3 sections of the class. Okay? So there's, theoretically a cap of 35 for both this section and the online section. Actually, the online section doesn't necessarily have a cap because who knows how many people are out there receiving the signal. We don't know. The potential audience is,
So if we can't make it to class, then we can watch this.
Right. There's opportunities for you to catch up on stuff in addition to, what's on Moodle. Right? Yeah. Well, it's okay. Because, honestly, what happens is it does tend to thin out, and so you start getting people, sending you stuff, in a rush. Don't do that. Just it's easier to keep up than to catch up. Really.
What do you prefer to be in class?
I like it, but, again.
I like it too.
Because, it's better to, do the live interactive thing and get your questions asked and all that. Because, there's a certain reality with dealing with this subject matter and your population. And when I'm saying your population, I'm talking about civilians. All right? So drug counselors are supposed to have resolved their issues by the time they take this material that's going to be triggering for them. Okay, like, when I go to, that's drug counselors, and that's for the professional class. That's not this class, right? some people are either newly in recovery or not in recovery, and they're taking the class, and they come. I know people that have come loaded. And I'm not going to not necessarily make comment about that on camera, right? But it's a reality because just like the court just ruled that people can bring guns on campus. I don't know about us, but we already know that. We already know there's like easily 50 guns on campus anyway.
And
Pickups, cars on people's persons. It's like duh. I'm from LA. I assume that. This is Spring-tucky, please.
And everybody has
Not to say anything against you, Cottage Grove, but I have had gun threats going through that community and in the environment, so I tend not to go there. Nice little town, but so yes, you can not physically be here if you wish. I do not recommend that for your success. Because the discipline of showing up. What did Woody Allen say? Half a life is showing up. That's true. Yes.
Well, I am going to become a counselor, so are you saying that I really shouldn't take these classes?
No. This is the civilian class. Okay? Definitely by the time, it used to be before you could even take CPSY195, you had to, if you were in recovery, you had to document 5 years of clean time. So let me give you an idea about what the field is like. Okay? Minimum before, to get licensed as a certified alcohol and drug counselor, if you are in recovery, you need 5 years of documented clean time. If they wanted to be fanatical, that might mean a UA record. If they wanted to be that fanatical.
I heard that it's really late.
Sure. Hello? Dope fiends lie to you. My daddy said that. Son, dope fiends lie to you. Dad, no. Really? Wow. Okay. So to even train to become a drug counselor, you needed 3 years of clean time so that if you went through a 2-year program, by the time you graduated through the program, you could basically be taken care of because you're going to be basically dealing with people in all stages of recovery, including not to new. I got an email from somebody saying, I just got a week clean and there's some classes that I could take. If you mean treatment, no, we don't do treatment. I'd love for us to do treatment, but higher ed, so to speak, doesn't do that. So one of the pieces that also happens with this sector of society is that the data already shows us that when you move from high school to college environment, your drug use as tracked by alcohol goes up. If we use binge drinking as an indicator, and we'll talk about what that means either later today or next week at some point. Is there somebody over here, or I'm just being fair? You and you.
So, I've been in recovery since October 19th of 08.
Okay.
And I was reading on that information saying what you were talking about is documented recovery time. And it's like, I was in treatment for 68 days, but they don't want to count that time because it can't be
Right.
out of institution,
Right.
I guess.
Right.
So, how am I supposed to document that?
If you're in a 12-step framework, you have a sponsor.
Well, and also whenever you go to get your annual, whenever you go to get physicals, because we have clinic service here at school, you can request to have that done. We have that service available. You can take it upon yourself to document it.
Yeah, there's that too. Right.
And they do annuals, and when they do any STD screenings, they'll ask you if a UA is nothing.
$20, something like that.
If it's that important to you and you need to document it, it's way cheaper than an outside lab.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to a school that has the only health clinic for community college students in the state, so. Yes,
Another resource would be Oxford Health, you can go to the
True.
UA, pay $5.
good, right.
But my question was, as you said, they could be finicky. What is an average? What are they asking for? Like a normal, just like on a regular basis?
It varies,
It varies.
it varies.
Because my training is for 1505, and I have documentation and job with them until then. But for like the last 2 years, I probably couldn't tell you a whole lot of other. Like I haven't been doing UAs for anybody. I haven't had a job that requires them anymore. And
Yeah.
so will that 2 year change? Will it make it so my 5 years prior is going to be?
I think it's basically it's a national standard.
Okay. So the different from not having it for the last 2 years but having it the 5 years previous, is that going to make it where they don't and I have to start it over?
I would ask ACBO about that.
Okay.
I mean, if you're getting certified here.
Okay.
Addiction Certification Board of Oregon, ACBO, out of Portland.
Okay.
All right, and the reason I said the caveat of in recovery, all right? So, I've been practicing in the field for 40 years, 20 some odd in this state. Is that Cottage Grove? Cottage Grove, wave. If you hear me, okay. Test the mic out so I can hear you. It says it's off. Hey, audio signal. Yes, cool. Hi.
Are they in your office?
No, that's in Cottage Grove.
Oh.
All right, cool. Thanks. I just want to make sure that the connection was there, and if you want to ask a question, turn on the mic. Otherwise, if you take notes, it's a PZM mic. It'll pick up what's on your desk. So turn the mic on when you want to ask a question. Otherwise, leave it off.
Somebody has a question here. What was never mind, she got shy.
Don't be shy. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
We can't hear you.
I can hear her. Okay, you cool? All right, you cool. All right. Go ahead.
So it would seem to me
Is that our child?
it would seem to me that it would be pretty easy to document clean time just with the hair sample.
Yes, if they're smart enough. She was pointing out it'd be easy to document clean time with a hair sample. Yes, if your hair's long enough and if they're smart enough to do that. Only the feds do that.
Right.
Military, intelligence services, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Jace.
I'm just curious. There's all kinds of different addictions.
Say again?
There's all different kinds of addictions.
Yes.
We just cover drugs.
No, we cover all kinds of addiction. Cottage Grove. Unless you want us to hear that conversation, you should turn the mic off. There you go. Thanks. It's okay to be part of the discussion. Just if you're, doing crosstalk, it's hard to hear. And I'm used to chaos, so. Anything else? All right, let's continue from where we were. So, policy change. Now, the last slide was basically talking about England suggesting doing no alcohol advertising. There are other countries within Europe that actually do this as a policy. So consider this. Year 2000 alone, the alcohol industry spent $10 billion a year in advertising in the U.S. market alone. Okay? And during that same time, all spending by the federal government to support treatment and prevention was $1 billion. So guess who's going to win? If you basically live in a culture where them that got the goal makes the rules. All right? So as a policy change, as an example, the English Medical Society is suggesting banning all alcohol advertising in country to reduce alcohol problems. There are countries that do that. Take, for example, Sweden. Now, in Sweden, alcohol is a government monopoly. There are two sides of it. One governs production and in-country sales, and the other does export. In-country, legally drunk is 0.04. If you get a Dewey, you lose your license first offense, 6 months. No alcohol sales on weekends. You can drink at age 16 if you are accompanied by an adult in a restaurant. And no in-country alcohol advertising. Now, let's see, what is that famous Swedish vodka? They do all the advertising here in the country. Absolute. No, Absolute.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? Those Absolute ads that you see, those are illegal in Sweden. Don't happen. So they have lower rates of alcoholism than we do. Stricter laws, all that kind of stuff. Right? So there is some actual, imagine America with no alcohol advertising at all. I mean, what's the point of having alcohol advertising except, well, we know what the point is. Right? So continuing with your explorations cleverly disguised as assignments, there are some people that use alcohol as one of their food groups.
Irish.
No, that's kind of cultural destruction. That's why that happened. So the idea is starting week 3, 1 to 2 page, single space, 12-point font, typed paper for 1 week. Track everything you put in your mouth. Gum, cigarettes, chew, candy, cinnamon, toothpicks, whatever. Kindly edit your sexual exploits. I don't really, that's like in the TMI category. It's been done. That's the only reason I brought it up. Like, I don't really care about that. You said everything. You 20-somethings. Okay, notice your mood just before you eat. Not just are you hungry, tired, tense, angry, but what emotions you go through. It is a fact that part of the stress response, if you are under stress, part of the stress response neurochemically, and we'll get into what neurochemicals are later, there's a stress response that's over in 10 minutes, and there's another one that goes over 2 hours that causes you to crave what we call comfort foods. Energy dense, high sugar, high fat foods. That's part of the stress response. So notice your mood before you eat. Pay particular attention to how much of the food is alive when you eat it. How much of the food that you eat is alive when you eat it? Like a raw fruit or vegetable. I don't want to know about snakes or squirrels. You do that. Okay? Raw fruit or vegetable. Here's the fact. I like facts. They're fun. Unlike Ronald Reagan. Well, he said facts, stupid things. I mean, okay. You can say that. Child of an alcoholic that he was. you are 78% water and alive. Optimally, what you should be eating is also 78% water and alive at the time that you eat it. Plus the whole hydration thing of you drinking 12 8-ounce things of water during the day, right? So this will be like the first time for a lot of people that they'd even pay attention to what they're eating.